Welcome back to the Jesus Pattern Network as we continue to learn more about the four seasons of the harvest illustration or a diagram that we use to help us to better think about being ambassadors and disciple makers where we live, work, and play. If you haven't already seen the four seasons of the harvest overview video or the four seasons of the harvest season 1 video, I highly recommend you go back and watch those before this video. But this video is focused on season 2, which is the planting season. As a quick review, here is the four seasons of the harvest diagram that we use to help us to see our lives in the harvest and how we are finding the correct fields to work in, preparing the soil, planting ideas of discipleship and the gospel, growing disciples, and watching God work in the harvest. Today, we're going to be focused on season number 2. If you need a copy of this diagram, go to our website under resources, downloads, and you'll find this particular diagram. So let's jump into it. Season 1 was all about finding people to invest in and building relational equity. In this season, we're talking about planting. Now, what are we planting, right? We're trying to identify discipleable people, begin spiritual conversations that lead to gospel truth and life transformation. If the field that you're working in is with a non-believer, then we're going to try to plant ideas of the gospel, of gospel truth. If the field you're working in is with someone who has a religious background or is maybe a Christ follower, but has never really lived out an authentic life of being an ambassador and a disciple maker, then we're going to be planting ideas of discipleship. Now, what you see here on the left is red, yellow, and green, like a traffic light. And that's helping us to remember that sometimes people give us red lights, sometimes people give us yellow lights, and sometimes people give us green lights when it comes to the gospel or to these things. And we have to be sensitive on when to proceed and when to back off. Now, what we're trying to do is use stories, questions, and illustrations to share gospel truth and encourage life transformation. We talked in season 1 about casual and crucial conversations. Eventually, we hope that God allows us to bring those into spiritual conversations, to get into conversations about the gospel. We also talked about my story and how it can be a tool to begin to build conversations. Well, we can also use my story with some more detail to begin to bring gospel truth into the conversation or ideas of discipleship and how it affects our lives. We also have lots of illustrations we can use to help people to understand gospel truth. We also have the principles of the law. It comes out of Galatians 3:24, where it says the law is a schoolmaster to bring us to Christ so we can be justified by faith. So we teach principles of the law to help use the 10 commandments to help people see their need for Jesus. And then we also have what's called the 21-day challenge, which is a tool we've developed to help find discipleable people and begin to build rhythms of discipleship. Now, there are videos that we've made that will cover in detail my story. There are lots of videos on illustrations, and there's videos on principles of the law and on the 21-day challenge. So I encourage you to watch each one of those videos to deep dive those topics a little bit more. But in summary, season 2 is all about planting the gospel and planting these ideas of discipleship and disciple making for people to follow. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. God bless you in your disciple making journey.